Welcome back to Notes to My Nervous System, a podcast about better understanding your nervous system so you can move through hard moments with a little more calm and a lot less self-blame. I'm Erin, a mom, therapist, and creator of the Mindcircuit app. It's called Ease. It's a simple nervous system tool to help reset you during tough moments when your body needs support before your brain can catch up.
I'm really excited to talk to you about what we have planned at Wilderness and to jump right in and kind of hear from you about the group. And I know that we met, what day was that? Earlier last week?
I think so.
And we were,
Yeah.
and we started with some like broad stroke ideas. And then we decided that we were going to jump on here in a recorded room so people could see the whole process, not only of planning an event, but what goes into all of the discussions that we have behind the scenes. So I guess, what do you have in mind for us at Wilderness?
Well, I was trying to think of a way to engage with your community more. I love the group of people you're bringing together, and I just love going into your stores. It feels like an art gallery meets, like, I don't know, a plant store, coffee shop. It's just such a nice vibe. So I was trying to figure out how to be more involved, even though my involvement thus far is writing books. And so I thought, what about the idea of like a book group or some way for me to show up with the information that I have in my brain as a therapist that can help people? A lot of people feel really stuck right now. So I thought this might be a good way for us to interact.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the shop, I really appreciate that. I could see that you're wearing actually a ring that you got in the shop. So that made
I
me
got
smile.
2 rings that I got in the
Multiple,
shop.
yeah, start with skipping pebbles, but you definitely add to that feeling. And so one of my favorite things in the store is when people are perusing your work. We have your Wired for Safety book, Unlock Your Limitless Potential, and then we have a couple of other books, like journals and workbooks and things. And I love it how people will be looking, and it's already a slower pace than kind of like going to the grocery store or things like that. But people will be looking, but then they'll see your book and everything will stop. And they'll just be very curious, especially the Wired for Safety, and especially with, just kind of like you said, getting unstuck. And so we create a place where, time can slow down. But then I see people really just like zone in on your book, pick it up. It's accessible. So to have that reach even more people, people buy it as gifts, and people, it's really wonderful. We always talk at Wilderness that we cultivate creative curiosity, or we're here for the creatively curious. And I definitely see mental health as something that we can be creatively curious with.
Mhm.
Something that can feel really tricky at first or can feel really overwhelming. I know we have a way that we're going to, ask more questions and stuff and get involved that way. But how would you approach this group kind of in line with that vision of creative curiosity and getting people together in a room to do things maybe they've never done before? What does that look like for your group that you have in mind? I
So
know that we're talking about maybe meeting once or twice a week or something like that in person.
yeah, so we're definitely gonna take all the info when we put our survey out there to see what days, times, how often works, because I wanna show up when it's best for others. That's the whole point of this,
Mhm.
is making this as accessible as possible. And so I'm pulling from my 2 books, The Wired to Heal, which is all about ways that we can tap in, heal ourselves, things that are out there, just some simple, quick things that really do help you in difficult moments. And then my other book, Unlock Your Limitless Potential, how to go deeper. So from the
Mhm.
Wired book, every group will pick like a chapter from the Wired book and actually practice these different things, because I don't know about you, but if I read something, it only sticks for so long. I need to actually physically do it. So I wanted to provide the space for us to practice some of this mindfulness, coping strategies, whatever you want to call it, but using your body in a way to help yourself regulate in the moment. And then when we're all in that regulated space and we got to practice, then, okay, what's like that next step So we keep moving forward. And that's where I want to pull from my Unlock Your Limitless Potential. All the different ways that we block ourselves, how it shows up as self-sabotage, and what can we do about it?
Absolutely. And so when you think about this group, who do you have in mind? Do you have like a person in mind to come to this group, or, somebody specifically that you're
Mhm.
looking to reach?
Uh, well, women, because I'm a woman. Men are always welcome, but that's just where my brain goes. Moms, non-moms, just
Mhm.
women who are feeling that they need a supported space, a space where they can show up. They're not necessarily looking for that one-on-one therapy, but they know they need something more than just listening to a podcast and reading a book. And so this is what I'm hoping is the helpful in between, where you can meet with a group who is focused on different ways to heal, different ways to regulate, and then different ways to tap into your power as a person, because we all have such potential, but we limit ourselves all the time because of self sabotage.
Mhm.
How that looks, talk about it, open, free conversations. So, women who really want to be able to push themselves forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and that's really powerful. That was something that you and I talked about, is that those third spaces is kind of like the catchy term, but just places where people can show up for each other. It's kind of like the craft club we were talking about, and it's a different facet of what we do here at Wilderness, but it all is very much the same. We're just showing up for each other. You can be on a 2, you could be up, at a 10,
Mhm.
whatever period of life that you're in, and just showing up for people wholeheartedly for whatever that looks like. So that's really exciting. Is there something that people should prepare before they come to this? Like, how could someone prepare for this class? Say they're curious,
Mhm.
right? Say that they're, I'm hearing that it's not necessarily a requirement to buy the book, right? You just show up. That seems to be the only requirement. But how could somebody, sometimes doing new things is scary, or going to a new place, we were talking about having it up at the King Creek Station location. I'm also open to having it at this location. This is a little bit
Mhm.
of a different format, so we'll kind of split test that with the survey. But how can people prepare to show up in this space?
Well, you can buy the book or you can show up and I'll have a couple copies for people. The main thing I want people to do is to show up comfortable. So bring something to write in, take notes, coffee, water, snacks, whatever makes sense, because I want this to be a comfortable space. I'm going to lead it. You don't have to worry about that. I'll ask
Mhm.
questions. I'll get it going. Not an issue. If you have questions or topics that you do want to address, please share them with me. I can make sure that we get to them. But just if you want to do a little like homework or something before, you could always look into different ways the body naturally heals. You can look into your window of tolerance. You can look into the survival versus the safety brain, the idea of that biology of hope. Those are some of the things that I'm going to be touching on. So if you want to look into like co regulation, the power of your tribe, helper's high, mirror neurons, things like that. Those are some key terms you could like Google and then see if you're interested, not interested, and come with questions. But again, if everybody just shows up and there's no
Mhm.
questions, don't worry. I can get us there.
Yeah, you've done this once or twice before,
Yeah.
which is
17
fabulous.
years as a therapist.
Yeah. And with you as a therapist, what is your favorite part about that? Because you've really, I mean, you see people from all walks of life. I've seen you at events locally. We also, connect in person. But what's your favorite part about all of that?
Whew, there's a lot. I'm certainly never bored. I love that.
Mhm.
It's always new every day. Um, And it's just rewarding when you see a person or a group have an aha moment or feel validated, right?
Yeah,
Just,
absolutely.
it's that helper's high.
Absolutely. I love the all of the terms that you were using. I definitely will be in the camp, I would be in the camp of just showing up because I think that's really powerful of just showing up and just being yourself
Mhm.
authentically. And I love how you talk about how you don't have to do the homework, but if you feel like, that's something that you want to do, you're more than welcome to. What is one of these tools that you find yourself right now, just to kind of give a preview of the class that you're using most often in your day-to-day life right now?
I have been doing some like modeling for myself. So I've been trying to pause and notice when I feel that sense of urgency, and using that sense of urgency is more as like a yellow light, a warning light, that means that
Mhm.
actually I need to pause and check in with myself.
Absolutely. How do you find that sense of urgency with yourself? Like, is that something that you'll teach us to kind of identify
Yes, the
that
way
sense
your
of urgency?
body feels somatically.
Mhm.
Everybody has little tells, and it's getting more
Mhm.
in tune with your body because your body is always giving you good information. We just don't always listen to it. And so I'm always of the opinion that it's everything coming together. Your thoughts, your emotions, somatic, everything coming together is how we heal and work best as humans. That's why it's so important when you are working with like a therapist like me that that's not the only work, that you're maybe doing some yoga, or I've had people go get massages or acupuncture, book groups, podcasts. Like, it's not just one thing. You need to figure out what are the pieces that come together to help you. But it's you, right? So you can't make change if you're not in touch with you. And so that's one of the first things I want to work on is what are the different ways your body talks to you? What are the warning signs that maybe you're not catching?
That's so fun, and I love the way that you frame it of first honing in, and then it's like putting all these little puzzle pieces together. It makes it feel like, you know, there's a buzzword that goes around in, like, the development community of, like, everything's safe to fail. It's kind of
Right.
how I think about if I'm taking a podcast or if I'm taking this, I'm just thinking of it like there's limitless, possibility. So just jump in, have the conversation, or just sit and absorb and learn how to tune in, and then after that, see how it all fits together. So
Mhm.
that's really exciting. That's super creative. I think that's I mean, the mind and everything, like, that's one of the most creative things we can do is work to learn more about that and to just honor and acknowledge where we're at. So, very cool. I'm so grateful that you were able to jump on today and just give a very quick preview. It sounds like next steps is we're gonna send out a survey from Wilderness.
Mhm.
I think you're gonna send it out to your people. I'm gonna send it
Yep.
out to our group as well. Maybe even put it on social media of just to start to get a, date and time preference. Or I know we had talked about possibly having themes of, is that something that you're still looking at? Or,
Yes. So
what would the big
I'm
picture?
gonna look at the 2 books, pull from them, and come up with some themes to help people frame so they know what to
Mhm.
expect, but I'm also leaving it flexible so that when people come for the first one, we can kinda have a conversation about the things they're looking for because
Mhm.
it's a group for whoever shows up, right? I'm facilitating it, but it's supposed to be helpful and beneficial to the people there. So, I have ideas of different things and some of the things I mentioned previously about the homework, but if there's something somebody really wants to make sure we dive into, well, then I'm gonna leave room for that.
Very cool. That's awesome. And maybe we can include on the survey something that, maybe like an other, of like, hey, do you have any feedback or what
Or
would
do you have
you
a topic of
appreciate? Or
interest that you really is important for you to have a group around for it to be covered?
Absolutely. And I know that's something that you and I were talking about, and not just to jump forward, but one of those yes and things. You and I had talked about kind of taking these conversations and really peeling back the curtain, and you and I being leaders in this space and having these conversations openly, whether or not it's a question that I have or a question that somebody else has brought to me, and having kind of those ask a therapist segments. And I'm really excited about that. That's something I would love to move forward with if that's something you're still interested in. I
Oh,
think people could find a lot of
absolutely. I
value.
think
So
it's great. I mean,
we could have this survey, and then we could have an actual jot form or something
mhm.
where people can ask the question totally anonymously.
Absolutely. Nobody needs to use their names if they don't want. Lee will read the questions and then I'll answer them to the best of my ability through my lens. And I'll always preface that like different therapists approach things differently. Debate can't talk today based on how they view therapy, the modalities they use. But I think it'd be interesting. I mean, I would like to pick people's brains, so why not give them the
Mhm.
opportunity to pick mine?
Absolutely. And I love that you talk about the modalities and answering everything kind of within your scope and your frame.
Mhm.
How would you, if you were to like elevator pitch or just explain your frame for a second, how would you describe the work that you're currently doing in the mental health sphere?
Well, I am definitely a trauma therapist. I do a lot of work around trauma roots. And so the idea of EMDR and how everything gets stored in the body from the thoughts to the memories to the feelings to triggers you may be unaware of to your emotions, definitely a whole body approach because that's how we heal is our whole body. My lens is very much making sure whatever I suggest I know works, helps. Either there's research behind it or I've tried it myself and it helped me, right? Now, just
Mhm.
because I suggest it doesn't mean it's going to always help another person. So that psychological flexibility to be able to know that we may need to do trial and error, but I never want to approach therapy as the expert, right? What I'm doing is making sure that I am bringing to light the questions that you're avoiding to ask yourself. And so there's a little bit of gestalt in there and um, human approach, what is that called? Positive intelligence there. I pull from a lot of different areas because I feel that there's good pieces in every modality. Um, and some
Mhm.
modalities we may not have the research yet, but that doesn't mean that science isn't going to catch up and prove it, right? So I also
That's so
don't
good.
discount
Yes.
things that aren't
Yeah,
proven yet because, like, we used to do leeches to cure people of things. So, like, we're always learning and doing things that maybe wasn't correct. So,
absolutely. That all just sounds, I love synthesis and just learning and pulling from your experience. And also the fact that you really focus on practicality and things that you've seen success with directly with your own eyes or in your own body. And then it doesn't feel like we're just showing up every single week just to kind of talk and go home and not really workshop any real solutions
no,
to
I want
what we're
people
experiencing.
to have something they can do. I hate when I go to things, conferences, and I'm like, well, this was interesting, but what do I do with it? I'm very much a person who likes to have something tangible for someone.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited for this. I'm really excited to start asking questions to our broader communities and kind of look at what they're looking for. I feel like the sirens went from you to me now, but to look at our community and really ask them questions of what they're experiencing now or what they feel like they're experiencing, and then have you in person really take that to a deeper and really meaningful, but also tactical level. So
That's the hope.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for offering this. Where can people find you? I know that you have your podcast.
To my nervous system, and that's where I talk with a lot of different interesting people. I just talked to Dr. Mona from Peds Talk. I talked to Elizabeth Earnshaw from Liz Listens, Jessica Baum. She wrote the whole anxious attachment book, and she just wrote another book called Safe. So I just talk about how your body and emotions and everything shows up in the here and now. And I try and talk to different experts to pull tangible things we can do to help ourselves. And then once a month, I do a version of the podcast called Regulated Ish, because we're regulated, with a childhood friend of mine. And we talked about the different things happening in life as two moms in chaos, just trying to make it through.
Oh man, all of that sounds so relatable. And we will definitely drop links whenever
Oh, thank
you're
you.
posting. We'll make sure in the notes or at least in the comments that we have links and we'll backlink you on the website. And then if somebody hears this and they feel a connection with you and they're like, hey, I would like to go deeper, that this sounds great, but I really am interested in learning more about EMDR or somatic work on a one-on-one basis. How can they touch base with you there?
I have a website. It's called Mindcircuit. So your mind and getting all the circuits to work together, mindcircuit.org. And that ties back to me, my podcast, my books. I have an app called Mindcircuit Ease. It's all about being able to have quick micro resets that you can use in the real time to start to give that good message to your nervous system to calm down. We're safe. We're good to go. I use a little bilateral stimulation as a way to interact with your body and nervous system.
Very cool. So check out Mindcircuit, check out Regulated-ish and Notes to Your Nervous System. And I'm really excited, Erin, to continue this work and to chat offline. And thank you so much for showing up today for a couple minutes so we could get to know each other a little better here.
Thank you.
Before you go, I want you to take a brief pause. I want you to notice your breath, your feet on the floor, the surface supporting you. Nothing to change, nothing to fix. Just letting your nervous system register that in this moment, safe is enough. If this episode helped you feel even a little more steady, that matters. Small moments of regulation support resilience over time. Thank you again for listening to Notes to My Nervous System. If this resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review. It helps others find our work. And if you want more gentle resets, check out the Mindcircuit app. It's called Ease. It's in the Apple Store and Google Play. It's a short, evidence-based practice to support your nervous system when life feels a little too loud. Thanks again for being here, and please be kind to your own wiring.